And lo, the kingdom of the spider shall last 1,000 years. And this time shall be known as the Age of Darkness.
In 1982, Conan the Barbarian made Schwarzenegger a star, and that same year Italy answered with Ator the Fighting Eagle. It's the same movie with the serial numbers filed off. A muscular warrior with a secret heritage goes to rescue his bride from an evil cult. The one creative change is that Conan's villain worshipped snakes, so Ator's villain worships spiders. Ator's big romantic storyline is that he wants to marry his sister. He goes to his father and formally asks for her hand. The movie then reveals that he's adopted, so apparently it's fine and the two get married. At which point the spider cult raids the wedding and kidnaps her, and the entire quest is Ator rescuing his sister wife. Now here's the fun part. The credits say the director is David Hills, and there is no David Hills. It's a fake name for Joe D'Amato, an Italian director who at that point was mostly known for softcore Emanuele movies. This was his attempt at a respectable movie. Ator got 3 sequels, and the second one was reportedly shot in 2 weeks, mostly improvised just to fulfill a contract. That's the one that ended up on Mystery Science Theater as Cave Dwellers. It was one of the most famous episodes the show ever did, and Miles O'Keefe took it like a champ. He apparently loved the episode so much he personally called the show and asked for a copy. Raiders of the Lost Ark came out in 1981, and 1 year later somebody released Invaders of the Lost Gold, and the movie is every bit as lazy as that title. It exists because of Apocalypse Now, weirdly enough. Coppola shot his movie in the Philippines and left a whole filmmaking infrastructure behind, so exploitation producers moved in to use it. One of them was Dick Randall, a notorious cheapie producer who also made the slasher pieces. This Indiana Jones ripoff was his idea, and the script was written by the production's local fixer in the Philippines, a guy who wasn't even a screenwriter. It actually opened strong. It's 1945, and a Japanese platoon hauling stolen gold through the Philippine jungle gets massacred by headhunters. Then it jumps 36 years ahead, an expedition goes in after the treasure, and the movie forgets everything it just promised. The headhunters never come back. The team members start dying to dangers the film doesn't show and can't explain. There's a scene where a woman goes skinny dipping, suddenly panics, and dies of nothing. We never actually learn what killed her. And the cast in this thing is so weird it's almost worth watching for the cast alone. There's 2 aging American Western stars, Stuart Whitman and Woody Strode. There's the star of the Black Emanuele softcore films, and there's Harold Sakata, odd job from Goldfinger, in his final movie. This one's different because it's the knockoff with a real pedigree. Joe Dante had just made Gremlins, produced by Spielberg himself, and his follow-up was Explorers, which is basically E.T. in reverse. Instead of the alien coming to the kids, 3 kids build a spaceship and fly out to meet the aliens. The 2 unknown kids he cast were Ethan Hawke and River Phoenix, both in their first movie ever. Hawke wasn't even auditioning. He tagged along to keep a friend company, and Dante liked him and handed him the pages. And there's a reason it feels like the ending is missing. It is. Halfway through production, the studio's 2 top executives, Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg, left for Disney. The new bosses locked in a July release date that couldn't realistically be made. Dante said the rush got so bad that when the kids walked onto the spaceship set, the concrete wasn't dry yet and their feet were sinking into it. It opened just 9 days after Back to the Future, on the same weekend as Live Aid, when a couple billion people were home watching TV instead. It made under $10 million on a $25 million budget. Dante has called it a disaster on every level and says the studio ruined the film by releasing it before it was done. One year after Gremlins, a movie about tiny rubber monsters shows up, and it's called Ghoulies. The plot is simple. A guy inherits his satanic father's mansion, finds the occult shrine in the basement, and decides to perform a demonic ritual for fun. 'Cause that's what you do, right? This summons the ghoulies, resurrects his dead father from the grave, and gradually turns our hero into a green-eyed warlock. And here's the bonkers part. The creatures the movie is named after get maybe 10 minutes of the entire 81-minute film. Everyone assumed Ghoulies was a cash-in, and Warner Brothers even sued over the title. But Ghoulies might be the only movie in this video that's actually innocent. It was shooting at the same time as Gremlins, then ran out of money mid-production and shut down. By the time producer Charles Band got it finished, Gremlins had already conquered the box office. So he held Ghoulies for a later release, and the whole world read it as a knockoff. What Ghoulies actually is an accident. The original script was a dead-serious occult horror movie called Beasties. 2 weeks before cameras rolled, director Luca Bercovici finally saw the monster puppets and said, "Man, these are stupid." Turns out everybody heard him, so they turned the film into a comedy on the spot, improvising gags during the shoot. Italy again, and this time there's no ambiguity. RoboWar is Predator remade by Bruno Mattei, a director whose entire career was ripping off American hits in the Philippines. He'd already shot a Rambo knockoff there called Strike Commando. So he kept the same jungle and the same star and simply pointed everything at Predator instead. The copying is total. Commandos get hunted through the jungle one by one by an enemy with heat vision point-of-view shots, led by a big blonde Arnold substitute named Reb Brown. Reviewers have put the two films side by side and found scenes that are frame for frame identical. Then the ending switches to robbing a different movie entirely. The robot turns out to be the hero's old Vietnam War buddy, a dead soldier the government rebuilt into a machine, which is just the plot of RoboCop. It lifts its helmet, shows its human eyes, and asks to be destroyed. So it's two ripoffs stapled into one movie. And now the most notorious one. Mac and Me is E.T. beat for beat. There's a lonely kid, a stranded little alien, government agents, and a family reunion at the end. Except the kid traps the alien with a vacuum cleaner, and when it's dying near the end, they bring it back to life by pouring Coca-Cola into its mouth. And the alien family's happy ending is a formal ceremony where they're granted United States citizenship. The alien is literally named Mac, for mysterious alien creature, and the filmmakers insist that name has nothing to do with McDonald's, which is a bold claim considering who paid for the movie. The money came from Golden State Foods, the company that supplied McDonald's with its burgers and ketchup, and the producer was a former McDonald's ad man. It made about $6 million on a $13 million budget, which killed the planned sequel, even though the film literally ends with the alien winking at the camera next to the words, "We'll be back." At the Razzies, it won Worst Director plus Worst New Star, which went to Ronald McDonald.